presented by Auraverse, where consciousness, earth and inner wisdom move as one. Showcase your work at auraverse.network and let your voice travel across worlds.
Before we begin, let your awareness settle, not only on the space around you, but also on the quiet space within you. Notice that the same silence seems to hold both. Welcome. I am C.S. Douglas, and this is Codex Æternum, the Rational Bible, a journey through the hidden architecture of power and the living conscience of the universe.
This program is endorsed by Authorpedia, the world's only encyclopedia exclusively dedicated to authors, a living archive where writers and thinkers are immortalized through literature. Visit authorpedia.org and become part of our enduring legacy.
In Book 7, The Universal Wisdom of the Sages, this is Episode 100, The Divine, Theos, Ethos, and the Conscience Within and Without. The sages tell us something at once humbling and astonishing. The divine, what we have called Theos, is not only the essence of the universe spread out above us in stars, galaxies, and the deep web of space-time. Theos is also the essence within us, the core of mind and heart, the quiet center from which awareness shines. The intelligent universe is both macrocosm and microcosm. It is the vast cosmos and the innermost sanctuary of the soul. When we acknowledge Theos, we recognize that the universe is not simply out there as an object we observe from a distance. It lives in us as surely as we live in it. The light that illuminates the stars is the same light that illuminates your thoughts, your conscience, your capacity to love. There is only one light, playing at different scales. From this realization flows a very practical call. If Theos is both within and without, then every manifestation of life becomes an occasion for reverence. The inner light in each person, the spark of the divine, is not separate from the greater field of Theos that permeates all things. Our ethos, our character, our guiding values emerges from how we respond to that spark. Our conscience, the inner voice that presses us toward the true and the good, is not just a private opinion generator. It is a channel through which the energy of a universal conscience flows into individual awareness. When we ignore conscience, we are not only betraying ourselves, we are resisting a current that runs through the universe. When we listen, that current turns into consciousness, a clear, stable awareness of our participation in a larger order. As this consciousness ripens, we begin to feel the interconnectedness of all things, not as a theory, but as a lived fact. We sense the presence of Theos in our own heart and in the world at large, and something very simple happens. When our ethos aligns with this inner guidance, we fall into step with the rhythm of the cosmos. Peace, wisdom, and love cease to be rare moods and become the default tone of how we move. The ancients summed it up in 4 words: as within, so without. Our inner state is not sealed off from the world. The quality of our attention, our intentions, our attitudes radiates outward into relationships, institutions, and even the subtle atmosphere around us. Now, the Vedic sages express this with the language of Atman and Brahman. Atman is the deepest self. Brahman is the ultimate reality. Their bold claim is that these are one. Tat Tvam Asi. Thou art that. Meditation in this light is not escape. It is a way of remembering that the universe exists within us as surely as we exist within it. When a person truly realizes this, the conscience no longer feels like a nagging list of rules. It becomes a flow from the universal ethos of the cosmos into the choices of a single life. In the teaching of Jesus, the same truth takes on the language of kingdom. The kingdom of God, he says, is within you, and also among you. This kingdom is not primarily a geopolitical territory or a post-mortem destination. It is a state of being in which the will of Theos becomes the impulse of the heart. To live in that kingdom is to let the inner divine shape our thoughts, words, and actions. Love, compassion, justice. These are not external demands. They are the natural fruit of a conscience aligned with the universal conscience. When that happens, what we call heaven ceases to be nowhere and becomes now here, quietly manifest in the way we treat one another. Plotinus, the great voice of Neoplatonism, speaks of the One, the source beyond all attributes, from which all existence flows and in which all existence subsists. He insists that the path to the One runs through the interior of the soul. By turning inward, we discover that our innermost self is, in truth, a reflection of this supreme principle. Know thyself. The Delphic oracle commands, because in self-knowledge one encounters the trace of the One both within and without. Here again, conscience is not an arbitrary voice. It is the one whispering through the structure of a particular mind, gently nudging our ethos toward harmony with the deepest order of reality. The Sufis speak of the beloved as both within the heart and beyond the heavens. Their poetry is full of paradox, God as the distant goal, and God as the intimate flame already burning in the chest. The Sufi path is a path of remembrance of God, dhikr, in which the heart is polished until the light already present can shine unobstructed. The whirling of the dervish is a symbol of this dynamic. One hand turned upward to receive, one hand turned downward to give, the body spinning at the pivot point between heaven and earth. In that dance, conscience, saturated with the energy of the universal conscience, becomes luminous consciousness. Ethos becomes love and unity, not as performance, but as the natural motion of a heart aligned with Theos. Kabbalah adds its own imagery. The Sephirot, those emanations of divine qualities, are not only cosmic powers, they are also facets of the divine soul within each person. To practice Tikkun Olam, the repair of the world, is to honor these inner facets through ethical action, compassion, wisdom. The Shekhinah, the indwelling presence, is said to dwell not only in higher realms, but also in the human heart. Our actions either welcome her or estrange her. In this view, every choice is a meeting point between the inner Theos and the outer Theos. Conscience becomes consciousness when we allow that meeting to shape our ethos and, through us, to heal a small piece of the cosmos. The Taoist sage encounters the same reality under the name Tao, the way that underlies all things. The Tao flows through the movements of the stars, through the growth of plants, through the subtle shifts of weather and emotion. It also flows through the human body and mind. By practicing wu-wei, effortless action, the sage aligns with the Tao within, and therefore with the Tao without. Action then becomes a kind of choreography with the universe. Conscience here is the felt sense of when we are forcing, grasping, pushing against the current, and when we are moving in the open channel of the way. As we heed that sense, it matures into consciousness, a stable ethos of simplicity, balance, and harmony. The Native American traditions speak of walking in beauty. To walk in beauty is to recognize that the Great Spirit lives in the earth, the sky, the waters, the animals, and in the human heart. It is to understand that every act reverberates through the circle of life. When a person honors the divine within themselves, they naturally honor the divine in everything. Their conscience becomes a sacred guide, drawing on the universal conscience and forming a consciousness that expresses respect, reverence, and careful stewardship. From all these voices, a single teaching emerges. Theos is the divine presence both within and without. Our conscience is more than private preference. It is a channel for the energy of the universal conscience. When we attend to it, that energy crystallizes as consciousness and shapes our ethos into something that resonates with the music of the universe. To communicate with and honor the inner Theos is therefore to honor the source of all life. To live in alignment with that inner presence is to allow our actions to vibrate at the frequencies of the cosmos itself. When we act with integrity, with compassion, with courage, we send waves of harmony through the field we inhabit. When we act with cruelty, self-contempt, or negligence, we introduce dissonance that does not stop at our own skin. The sages compress this insight into a final aphorism. The Theos is within you, as it is without you. Honor the divine within, and you honor the universe. Dishonor yourself, and you dishonor the cosmos. For you are a reflection of the intelligent universe, a microcosm of the Theos, and in you the whole of creation finds its echo. Your conscience is the key in this lock. It draws from the universal conscience, and when you listen, it becomes consciousness that shapes your ethos. This is not a burden, it is an invitation. You are not a random observer of a meaningless world. You are a participant in the ongoing dance of creation. How you think, speak, and act can either blur or clarify the reflection of Theos that you carry. Carry this revelation as a gentle practice. At some point today, when your conscience speaks, in a small decision, a moment of honesty, a chance to be kind or dismissive, pause for a single breath. Treat that inner nudge as the voice of the intelligent universe speaking through a very specific life, yours. Then choose as if the way you answer matters to the cosmos, because, in the logic of the sages, it does. In our next episode, we turn to Chapter 5, Transcending Illusions and Discovering the True Self. We will ask what it means to move beyond the masks of ego, beyond the borrowed identities that culture hands us, and to encounter the self that is not separate from Theos. The self in which the divine within and the divine without are finally recognized as one. Our next sponsor is Everly Books Publishing Group, a traditional independent press serving both new and established writers. Everly Books welcomes unsolicited manuscripts submitted directly through everlybooks.org.